PWR presents What If? What if John Cena turned heel? What if China became the first woman world heavyweight champion? What if Owen Hart never passed away? What if Magnum TA never got into a car crash? What if Hulk Hogan stayed with the AWA? What if Shawn Michaels signed with WCW? What if WCW won the Monday Night Wars? What if Vince McMahon's WrestleMania failed? What if?
What is going on there, Reflectionites? What is going on there, the Hoganites, the Israelites, the Vetoites, the probationary PWCites, all the ites all over the world? And you know why I'm laughing, Reflectionites. You know why the devilish grin is on the professor's face is because we're going to change the course of wrestling history for the better, for the worse, maybe indifferent, but who knows, who cares? It's what we do best here at the PWR podcast, at the Hami Media Group at PowerBeam.com. I need to, you know what? I need to go into the computer and kind of record a devilish laugh. You know, who has some devilish laughs? I remember Dr. Evil from Austin Powers had a devilish laugh. I remember every Batman villain from the Adam West series had a devilish grin, like the Joker, like the Penguin, like the Riddler. That was my favorite laughter, but like evil laughter. But that's neither here nor there. Reflectionites. We're not doing that kind of podcast right now. Like I said, we are changing the course of wrestling history for the better, for the worse, or what the hell? What are you looking at? You had that staunch look at something. You like?
No, because it blinded my eye.
Reflectionites, for the audio Reflectionites, there was this look from TW that was so stoic. That was like he saw. It was almost like he saw Kennedy get blasted in the head. He had that look like, God damn, I'm seeing it right now. I can't believe it. But anyway, neither here nor there. Again, for the slow ass video Reflectionites, you know, 8-track Brown so slow. I can't even depend on it anymore, but, you know, go on Big Ray's Twitter. But again, neither here nor there. Welcome to the PWR podcast, again, at the Hami Media Group at PowerBeam.com. And welcome to a very special What If episode. But before we talk about what we're going to do with this What If episode, I must introduce myself because I am vain like that. I must introduce myself because, again, I just love laughing and doing that for all y'all. I am the most charismatic one. I am the effervescent one. I am the stoic one. I am the affluent one. But most importantly, I am the glorious one. The only professional, well, the only objectionable man in this IWC, YWC, PWC punditry. The only objective man in this political hemisphere. The only objective man in the social media conundrum. The Professor Chabert Cruz, and I'm not here alone to change the wrestling history for the better, for the worse, or for indifferent reasons. I am here with my brother from another mother, the conservative liberal, the liberal conservative, dum-dum doing its own, the iron stomach one, Dr. Frickenstein, and the undisputed, the undeniable Detroit heavyweight champion of the world. Yee! Tommy, wonder how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. But I gotta know, how can you be the Detroit champion of the world?
Detroit's a big city. Detroit is the most important city in the world.
Is there a Philadelphia champion of the world and just like a Texas heavyweight championship, world class style?
Know your history, man. You know the Texas heavyweight champion, that was a big ass deal, but the Detroit heavyweight championship, the lineage, the legacy, Calavera Cortez, Tommy Wonder, that's the greatest legacy of the Detroit Heavyweight Championship, you know, legacy right there. Neither here nor there. I'm just saying, it's more important. It's higher than the New Japan IWGP title. It's more important than the AEW title.
That's on AEW TV. That's not.
I'm just saying, I'm just giving more lineage and more, you know, credence to the Detroit Heavyweight Championship of the world. But again, neither here nor there, Reflectionites.
I have a question for you.
What's going on?
Why is Dax Hardwood wrestling in all these singles matches?
Because He wants to, and
Is the other one hurt?
No, he just likes to do singles matches a lot. But Cash Wheeler sometimes mends his he has little nicks and knacks here and there. But Dax just likes wrestling.
You got Dax as a tag team guy who's wrestling these singles matches. Then you got fucking Black, who's a fucking singles guy who went almost a year without having a singles match. It's weird.
You talk about the logic being weird, of course.
It's weird to me that every time I see Dax Harwood takes on this, Dax Harwood takes on that, like he fought Dynamite Kid's son or nephew or whatever. I'm sure he's going over, but then they got a graphic of him fighting Ospreay, so obviously he's jobbing to him. But it's weird. Like, I don't know. I went from his podcast made me like him to back to thinking he's a geek. He's not good.
Well, Reflectionites, we're not doing a what if Dax Harwood is only wrestling singles. I'm not doing an AEW what if. We can't change wrestling history just yet. It's a little bit too early, a little bit too premature. But we can go a little bit back, TW, into the lexicon of wrestling history. So I thought it was apropos, like I said last week, because it just got me wondering. I was like, when you're a little bit bored on the YouTube's TW, you go and watch some great historical references in wrestling history. And TW is going into this Hall of Wonders, and he's going to pick up something. He wasn't prepared. It always happens. He's never prepared. But then when I say something, he just thinks about it off the cuff. But again, neither here nor there. It is, what if Bill Goldberg was still undefeated after Starrcade 1998 Reflectionites? And people might say, this is not a very good what if, TW, because again, we're thinking about it in hindsight of everything afterwards. We're thinking about everything in hindsight with things that happened in 1999. We know about the finger poke of doom. We know about the management changes behind the scenes of WCW. We know about the creative direction changing a couple of times between Bischoff, Vince Russo, and all that stuff. We're going to try to, mend those little hiccups, if you will, Reflectionites, as best as we can. But TW, it begs the question, before we even try to book it, try to save WCW from bankruptcy, which is, again, that's another impossible thing to do, Reflectionites. Don't get me wrong. I understand that. Me and TW cannot save the financial portfolio of WCW. No. We're going to try to save the wrestling aspect of WCW. But it starts, TW, with Bill Goldberg. Because, again, let's look at it from this standpoint. Before Starrcade 1998, Bill Goldberg was being pushed to the moon like Cameron Grimes and all that stuff. He was being pushed heavy into the main event scene from September of 1997. And then they booked it as the undefeated streak. They took the Bill out of Bill Goldberg's name and just called him straight up Goldberg. They made sure he did not speak. They made sure the matches were like 5 minutes, the most and max.
They made sure he did not wrestle.
Well, look at Steve Regal's match, and you can see why people were making fun of his wrestling abilities. But again, TW, we're not trying to we're not trying to get the exhibit A's and B's and C's of why it was justified. I'm just giving out the logistics. But again, 5-minute matches, as a lot of people said, he had 2 moves of doom. He had the spear, and then he had the jackhammer suplex. But again, for the positive, TW, we cannot overlook this. The Monday Night Wars, the fickleness of microwavable fans. Bill Goldberg was at the right place at the right time with the right gimmick and all that stuff. Because of cable TV, because of, channel surfing between Raw and Nitro. 5 minutes watching Bill Goldberg do what he does and then the crowd gets jacked. That's a ratings bump no matter what. You can never deny that fact. So TW, before again we try to save WCW, before we try to save Bill Goldberg's undefeated streak, and you got Bill Goldberg on the left, you got Lex Luger on the right when he made his return to WCW with that Monday Nitro look. But anyway, neither here nor there. But TW, what say you about the being there at the right place at the right time? All the planets aligned for Bill Goldberg and his streak, his gimmick, and his career. What say you?
Well, I remember, obviously, right place, right time, and they did the right thing. They had him just end people, and no one really had done that, at least not for a long time. You had guys having undefeated streaks, but not like just squashing people. Like, you know, like Tatanka had a year-long streak, didn't he? I can't remember who beat it. Sean? Was it Sean beat it? But he had it, but he had matches where you thought he might lose or might win, whatever, you didn't know. Goldberg just came out and just dominated everybody. And it was funny because if I recall, it wasn't the internet like now. It was the internet, but not like now. And
it was AOL and Yahoo.
Right. He came out right after Bischoff. I don't know if it was Bischoff, but it was WCW people, probably Bischoff, were ripping on Austin, saying, oh, black trunks, black boots, that'll get over. And then he became the most popular guy in the history of the business. And Scooby-Doo, a couple months later, who do you got on WCW? A bald guy in black shorts and black boots. And he basically dominated everybody. He wasn't a full-on Austin clone, but there's no doubt in my mind they were hoping somebody would see him and think he was Austin, even though he wasn't, you know, the casual fan who's not really all in on either one.
Were they influenced by Austin? Yes. I'm not going to debate about that. But Bill Goldberg offered a different spectrum about this because, again, with Bill Goldberg and the WCW, let's say, not money train, but the WCW machine, if you will, they knew they had a good, you know, he was larger than life. He was what I mean, you can look at it. You can look at it from that action figure itself. What is he, like 6'5", 6'6", 265, 270 pounds?
Former NFL guy
with the Atlanta Falcons and all that stuff. Well, Austin played football too in college, but again, that's neither here nor there. But he had all the traits to look larger than life. He had all the traits to be, and again, you could be a victim of your own, like, you know, self-interest. But Bill Goldberg followed that Bret Hart mantra. I'm the superhero. I'm the most important guy and all that stuff. And again, it works to a degree. For Bill Goldberg, he wanted to be like Hulk Hogan from the 80s, if you will, TW. Just follow me here. He wanted to be that. He wanted to have kids follow him, kids idolize him. You know, he wanted to take on that role model, you know, mantle, if you will. It wasn't about taking the mantle for wrestling and being the ace of WCW or being the Mount Rushmore with Hogan and Flair and Andre. I think Goldberg just said, I just want to make sure the kids have a healthy, stable. You're looking at me. Okay, go ahead, TW.
He wanted the Hogan spot, but not for that. He wanted to make money.
Well, that too. I'm just saying.
That's everyone's goal. And I would say this about Hogan. Now, is he all about money? Absolutely. When he was wrestling and he was doing all that, I would say he wanted to make money, but I don't think in his wildest dreams he thought he was going to make that much money, right? And money corrupts, so it turned Hogan into what it turned him into. But the whole kid thing was just his angle. John Cena, on the other hand, I would say is a guy who cares that the kids have somebody to look up to, and again, not right away, but once he knew that responsibility was on his shoulders, he protected that. Whereas Goldberg, I think, would have done anything anyone turn me heel like he did Hogan, so we can have another revolution. For sure, I could see him saying that.
No, again, that's the way you look at it. I look at it a little bit different. I think he was more in the Bret Hart mantra with the, you know, I want to be the superhero. I want to have the kids idolize me. Of course, everyone wants to be rich, millionaire, and all that stuff. I'm not denying that factor. I'm just saying. But Bill Goldberg,
I think there's way more morals in wrestling than there are.
Of course, there is.
It's a dirty business, man.
Calavera Cortez was the epicenter of morals and decency. I know that. Los Rudos.
I know this.
The epitome.
I know this. When kids liked me, I went out of my way when I was a bad guy to see them after the show so they could see that I was not like that in real life. You know what I mean? Like, you're not supposed to do that, especially not in front of a lot of people. But if some kid was going bananas for me, there'd be little kids dressing like me. So how could I not go talk to him afterwards? I did that because, yeah, there's humanity. But I'm telling you, there's no way in heck I would, if I was a good guy and they said, we want to make you a bad guy, I can't. There's 14 kids out there that rely on me. I can't be a bad guy. That wouldn't be me. I'd say, turn me bad guy.
I understand. Again, everybody's morals and ethics are different, TW. I understand that. But again, Calavera Cortez and Los Rudos were the epitome of morals and decency. But again, let's not go that route. I'm going to ask you a different question. Then we'll try to book this as best as we can, because again, the what is parlay to a lot of things, but we have to focus on one thing: the 173-0 gimmick streak. Again, it's not about the accuracy of the number and all that stuff. But again, every Nitro.
It's not accurate, but go ahead.
I know. I'm just every Nitro and every Thunder, Goldberg's is on that. He beats somebody in 5 minutes, and that elevates his number. It goes up and up and up. Two things happened during the 173-0 streak. He wins the U.S. title in a couple of months. Then he wins the world title in the Atlanta Georgia Dome on July of 1998. Special Monday Nitro and all that stuff. Now, with it in the realms of the undefeated streak,
there was a Nitro in the Georgia Dome.
Jesus, where have you been? Oh yeah, you was wrestling in that.
Wrestling. That was wrestling.
Yes, there was. Again,
dude, that's
40,000 40,000 people saw Goldberg win the title in the Georgia Dome on a Monday night Nitro.
So in 10 July times the amount of people watching AEW. That's pretty awesome.
Jesus Christ! Again, you reference everything on that. But again, need to hear that. I'm going to try to ask you this question. Now, don't parlay away from the question. Do you think, before we get into the undefeated streak part with the Starrcade thing, do you think was it too early for Goldberg to win the heavyweight title? I don't think it was not too early to win the U.S. title, because again, that's a workman's title, that's an elevation title, and all that stuff. I don't think you had any reservations of him winning a U.S. title that quickly. Maybe you might have reservations of him winning the world title that quickly. What say you during that undefeated streak?
So he wins it in July of 98.
Yes. Holds it until December of 98 and loses it.
He lost it that quick. I thought he lost it in 99. He lost it fucking 7 months later, 6 months later.
Yes.
Yeah. Why even put it on him? Why even put it on him if you're going to have him win it and lose it in 6 months? So my question is, when he won it in July, that would have been I don't know when the streak started, the 83-week streak. But winning it?
It started in September of 1997.
Okay. So by July, the streak had ended. Or it's coming close.
No, by July, the streak continued and he won the heavyweight title.
Oh, you said 97.
Right.
Okay, so it was just coming up. It was about halfway through it then. Okay. Right. I was thinking 2 years. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. But so they blew their load. And then, 30 weeks later, which is 10 more months, they lost the streak.
July to December, that's 5 months. He lost the belt after a 5 month reign.
No. The streak of 83 weeks, I'm saying. 30 weeks later after he won this title, which is 10 months. Mm-hmm. I think, to answer your question right off the rip, possibly, is it too soon? No. I think the streak is probably what doomed them, because I think the streak is why they felt like every week they had to outdo themselves. And what better way than to have him win the world title on the Nitro, and just keep sticking it to him. But the problem is where do you go from there? So now that he's won the belt, now all of a sudden he's got to go as champion. But you got to do something. And when he does lose this belt in December, they do everything to protect him. A cattle prod. I think there was interference before even the cattle prod. That was just the coup de grace. Yeah. And now
there was interference by Bam Bam. There was interference by Scott Hall. All that stuff.
They do the sink at him, the kitchen sink at him. So I'm assuming the logic was to have him lose the belt and then chase for it, and then they go ahead and fuck around and do the finger poke of doom, which was the next day, or was it a week later?
A week later, the most.
Yeah, the next Nitro, or it was on Thunder, one of the two.
Mm-hmm. No, it was the week after Nitro. That's the way, because it started in January of 1999. That's why I'm just giving you the logistics there.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like,
we don't have to. We don't have.
He lost it on a Nitro, then the finger poke of doom was the next Nitro.
No, he lost it at Starrcade '98. This is where it goes. He lost it on the pay-per-view,
okay.
Then not the first Nitro after, the next Nitro after he lost. Then it was the finger poke of doom. So all that stuff happened. Yeah. But again, now we got the logistics out of the way. So I'm feeling you're saying it's a little bit too. They blew their load so early with this undefeated streak that it shouldn't. I think you probably was. You're not on the fence. I think you was more agreeable with the U.S. title on him during this undefeated streak than the world title, because at least the U.S. title He can elevate that title. It can mean something. So you know what? That's a funny way to parlay that. But I can't use the U.S. title right now because he was the world heavyweight champion in 1998 Reflectionites. So in that instance, again, this is why What Ifs are the most popular series on the PWR catalog, TW. This is why everybody's in the DMs giving you suggestions, giving the professor suggestions of changing the course of wrestling history. So again, this is going to be a very complicated way of trying to change the wrestling history for the better. So TW, let's start with Starrcade 1998. Everything, like you said, happened. In the realms of that match, the kitchen sink was thrown at him. Bam Bam Bigelow made an appearance. Scott Hall made an appearance. A cattle prod made an appearance. And the result was Kevin Nash won the title. So here's the tricky part of this, TW, because everything has to start from Starrcade 1998. My question would be here, because I'm looking at it from this bigger picture atmosphere. Because in 1998, the NWO was split in two groups, the NWO Wolfpack and NWO Hollywood. The Wolfpack was let's say the baby faces for WCW crowds to go crazy for and throw the Too Sweet signs and howl at the moon. The NWO Hollywood side was Hulk Hogan, and people didn't like Hulk Hogan. They loved to boo him and all that stuff. So I think the best way to protect Bill Goldberg and to keep the the undefeated streak going until after Starrcade 1998 was you had to not do the finger poke of doom, but you had to do the bait and switch a little bit earlier. So this way, Bill Goldberg's coming into this knowing that Wolfpack and the NWO Hollywood has already united, and this was all a swerve to get, maybe get Bill Goldberg, to feel like some sort of way, like, okay, I got backup in case. I got the Wolfpack on my side against anybody from NWO Hollywood. But then the problem is Kevin Nash is part of the Wolfpack. So that's why I'm saying you do the swerve earlier. So this way Goldberg comes into that where you feel that the undefeated streak could come to an end. I don't think people were like they didn't go into Halloween Havoc saying, well, I think DDP has a chance. I don't think they went into another WCW pay-per-view saying, oh, Kurt Hennig looks like he has a chance to beat Bill Goldberg for the title. Or, oh, shit, Conan's going to challenge for the world title. Hell no, that was a 5-minute squash right there. But at least, I think, in my humble opinion, you had to do the swerve and you had to unite the NWO before Starrcade 1998. What say you about that idea?
Well, so they must have reunited them that night
No, the finger poke of doom was the reuniting of the NWO factions in January 1999.
See, I definitely, my memories, I thought the finger poke of doom was Kevin Nash being mad at Hogan and going, fine, here, take it, like a tantrum. I didn't know it was a good show of faith or whatever you call it, goodwill, show of goodwill. But here, all of it, they obviously did it wrong because here we are talking about the show with a WWE figure of Bill Goldberg from his WCW days. But my thing is why it was doomed is like you're saying have him reunite before that and him still lose?
No, have him reunite. So this way you have that, when you buy
so you were scared he'd lose and then
you'd be scared he'd lose and then he overcomes all that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Start in 1999 where Bill Goldberg is trying to thwart. Because now you got relevant challengers in 1999, knowing that the NWO has united, but they reunite maybe at the pay-per-view before Starrcade, maybe Halloween Havoc, or maybe a special Nitro or during Thunder. This is where you get that instant ratings bump if you're doing something that big and that historic. You do it before, so this way you build up to that pay-per-view. So this way people will have the perception, Reflectionites, it's the perception and maybe the fear that the undefeated streak could actually go away. That's the way I'm looking at it.
I agree 100%. Are you telling me that Goldberg defended the belt against DDP at Halloween Havoc?
Yes, he did.
Was it good guy versus good guy?
Yes, it was.
Oh, that probably fucking sucked.
No, it was a pretty decent match. It was one of Goldberg's best matches.
Oh, okay. Then DDP carried him. So here's where the problems are for me, right?
Okay.
His streak was 173, but that was counting the title, right? That's the one that ended when he lost the belt.
Wait, what do you mean?
So when you said the 173 wins in a row, that's also including his title reign.
Yes.
So, which is 5 months earlier. So when he won the belt, knowing them dumbasses, it was probably his 100th win or whatever.
Yeah, give or take. I don't remember the number itself.
So now here we have him go on this 100-match win streak, collects 2 titles along the way, forfeits the U.S. title because he's the world champion, basically stealing the Ultimate Warrior story. Then he has the belt for 6 months, loses it. So now you're basically telling everybody his reign as champion, he couldn't even win as many matches as his streak was before he became champion. Like it, you got people thinking, well, shit, he already won 100 in a row. He's champ now. He's going to win at least another 100 in a row as a champion, and then loses it 73 matches in after the streak of 100 leads him to the title, right? So you are now you just diminished the title, the streak that he had it.
Okay.
And he loses the freaking belt on top of it. So now he's a loser and he's no longer a champion. And then you got the NWO celebrating probably the next couple nights on Nitro and Thunder. And then the Finger Poke of Doom was the Nitro after that. So he's basically he's not just fallen from the top. He's basically thrown overboard. And
he's pushed off the cliff.
Yeah, pushed off the cliff. So you basically killed him at that point. Like,
so in essence, we're trying to save him. That's why I said you do all the stuff earlier, so this way you get the perception.
And it was 99 is when DDP won it, right? The miraculous DDP win.
What do you mean, the title?
Yeah. Was it Starrcade 99?
No, he won the title in like early February. Like it was like a spring.
So quick.
Yeah, it was quick. It was like a spring stampede, but that's when his heel turn was starting to rev up in 1999.
DDP
Yes, he did.
Jesus.
Yes,
so he wins the belt.
You was wrestling too much.
Was it at the Palace?
No, he won it in the West Coast. I forgot what pay-per-view that was. Let's not deviate.
Luger won it at the Palace. Luger won it at the Palace.
Yes, that was 97. Let's not deviate from the septum here. Let's go. Let's focus on
deviated septum. All right.
Yes.
No, I'm trying to figure out where everything is, because what I'm saying is for DDP to get that spot, it's because Goldberg losing the Finger Poke of Doom probably started having a negative reaction right away.
That's what I'm saying. But again,
to the point where you can't even have Goldberg be the one to beat him, because then it just looks like you're righting a wrong. But DDP winning it was pretty big, if I recall. Like, people were happy for him.
No, people were happy. It was a big moment for DDP on the dirt sheets and the AOL community sites. But again, we're trying to save Goldberg, and you are agreeing with the professor that the swerve should have happened earlier,
right?
And the perception of could he,
and he should have overcome it,
and he could overcome it. So that's the first basic rule, Reflectionites. I think me and TW, from the Starrcade standpoint, is change the swerve very early to an earlier Nitro or earlier Thunder, where Bill Goldberg is decimated, attacked, or whatever, or just double crossed by Kevin Nash, double crossed by Lex Luger, and all that stuff. It could work earlier instead of the Finger Poke of Doom and all that stuff. So in essence, TW, we're saving WCW from its own arrogance by, with the Mick Foley shit, we're saving with the ratings twist and all that stuff. We probably might keep having the ratings like wins between Nitro and Raw kind of like split for all of 1999 if they stayed the course and had Bill Goldberg win via the way you and I have said that. So let's put in this essence, TW, because now within the match, again, Bam Bam Bigelow was there. Disco was there. The Cattle Prod was there. Scott Hall was there. Now that we've done what we're doing, right? We've already did the swerve earlier. Should he overcome all those people and then kind of like take down the NWO to a lesser level? Or do you want it to be a straight match, or like Kevin Nash, Bill Goldberg, one-on-one, mano-a-mano, and then he beats him either cleanly, or do you want him to...
You have to have the interference, otherwise why have them reunite? Then it looks like they didn't really reunite. So you got to have it. But it wouldn't hurt, and it doesn't even have to be DDP or Sting. You can make it be somebody freaking that you're trying to build up. Brett. It could have been Brett,
you could have maybe like Sting or Bret Hart protect Goldberg and throw it off the NWO, the newly reunited NWO. So this way it protects Goldberg.
So then all of a sudden, Goldberg overcomes it, but he overcomes it with help from someone that everyone else loves too. So you're giving him the rub that he didn't really need because he was already over, but it doesn't hurt. And now you start, because the whole premise was WCW versus the NWO. So if the NWO reunites, then you got to have the WCW guys reunite. And then they help him, kind of like the Cody Roman, how whatever bad guy came out, the good guy came out, that was his rival to help, right? So whoever, by that point, they'd been there for 3 years. So I'm sure Scott Hall had a rival at some point, whether it could have been Brett, it could have been Sting, it could have been DDP. But you just have someone help Goldberg with all of them, right? Like just a counter for all of them, or just one guy, Sting, and then you make Sting and Goldberg look superhuman, superhero, and unstoppable.
I like the way you're using Bret Hart there, because I think Bret Hart, since he had no direction, Reflectionites, this would have gave Bret Hart the total direction. It would have let
WCW fans know that he was Team WCW, not with the former WWE guys.
Before the Big Show turned heel and babyface all the time, it was Bret Hart. Again, we have the documents. It's there on Nitro. Bret Hart was the first flip-flopper, not the Big Show. But again, neither here nor there. But Bret Hart would be a perfect one, because again, it's funny because I'm thinking right now, we've already, with what you said, Bret Hart protects him, Sting protects him, maybe DDP protects him. So you got 3 people. So within 1999, we know the direction that you can go with Bill Goldberg having a little bit backup. So you got the 3 backups there against the NWO: Hogan, Hall, Nash. And then, well, you can't have Luger because Luger was part of the Wolfpack, so Luger probably would be the swerve and flip-flopper. No, Luger was the first flip-flopper, not Hart. My mistakes. My apologies.
Luger was a flip-flopper his whole career.
I know, I'm just saying. But again, Luger will probably be the flip-flopper. I'm trying to go with Team Goldberg here there. But TW, what say you? Because now in 1999, since we did the swerve earlier, so now he goes into 1999, he beats Kevin Nash. I guess the best way for 1999 purposes to keep the streak going, to keep the title reign going, is, do you feed him more NWO people? Do you want to feed him like out of matter of respect for the people that helped him to win at Starrcade? Do you feed him the Bret Hart earlier? Do you feed him Sting earlier? What say on the building the reign and the legacy of Bill Goldberg's WCW run? You know what I mean?
I think you feed, like you tell the NWO you've had your shots and you have them fight DDP or Luger, or I don't know about Luger, but Bret Hart or Sting. But then you have the NWO ruin it. And then again, and then it all culminates to DDP, Bret, Sting, Goldberg, and a 5th guy versus the 5 NWO guys at War Games. You have a War Games with them. And I'm sure they had a WCW versus NWO War Games. If they didn't, they fucking really missed the bus. But you do
I
that.
I don't recall Fall Brawl 99. I think they tried to stop the War Games because there was no reason for it. So, but again, if you have reason for War Games, you just made a reason, because then Goldberg has backup against the newly reunited NWO, and you build that program to Fall Brawl 1999.
And,
then
the question, you make a stipulation that because the NWO, since you've already told them, you don't get no title shots. You've used them all up. You have the winner of War Games. The NWO can get a title shot if they win. So then you make everybody think they're going to win because of that. And then you have the good guys win anyway.
But then the question still remains, TW, because within this Goldberg streak, remember, there's monthly pay-per-views. There is the, there's Uncensored. There is, the January pay. There's January, February, March.
The Bunkhouse Stampede.
Well, there's no Bunkhouse Stampede in WCW anymore. This is 19
January.
No, I'm just saying they don't do that. They don't do that in the Eric Bischoff regime. I'm just saying.
What they did do was the worst pay-per-view of all time, Uncensored, and the worst match of all time, the Goldust versus the fucking Repo Man, and the worst match in the history of professional wrestling.
I'm just saying there are WCW pay-per-views every month. So Bill Goldberg has got to defend every month. That's what I'm saying. Or he's got to have high-profile main events every month.
He has to do what Hogan did, have tag matches. Goldberg and Zeus versus Hogan and Macho.
Oh, Hogan, where you going with Hogan? Jesus Christ! Now you're really going with what if, and then now you're doing crystal ball.
You just skip right over Zeus. I said Goldberg and Zeus versus Hogan and Macho.
Crystal balling in some weird way. You are smoking some good marijuana out in Detroit.
No, I said have that type of match where his belt's not on the line, and again, you have the brilliance of being able to have an NWO guy pin him clean. I mean, you could cheat, but you can have him pin him, not a win by DQ, not a win by countout. Have Goldberg get pinned, and then now when he defends the belt against the guy that pinned him, everyone's like, "Oh shit, he's got his number," and you have him win that match.
Just for clarity's sake, TW, I know you don't remember this, but in 1999, the January pay-per-view was sold out. The February pay-per-view was Super Bowl. The March pay-per-view was uncensored. The April pay-per-view was Spring Stampede. The May pay-per-view was Slamboree. The June pay-per-view was Great American Bash. July's Bash at the Beach. All right? You got that? I'm just saying. So in that pantheon of pay-per-views right there, because again, after Starrcade 98, Bill Goldberg wins. So certain pay-per-views are tag matches, tag main events. Which pay-per-view would be a Goldberg versus NWO heavyweight title match?
Slamboree would be one, because that historically that was Steamboat Savage or Steamboat Flair. Great American Bash, which that should be July, and Bash at the Beach should be June. I don't know why they moved the shit to June. Probably
I'm just giving you the list.
In August. But I would say Great American Bash, Slamboree, possibly Super Brawl should be title matches, and the rest should be tag matches, war games, or six-man tag.
Okay, I can understand that. So in those defenses, are we building up to Goldberg Hogan 2? Are we building up to Goldberg Nash 2? Which better, chaser of the NWO army is better for Goldberg to like keep the reign going? Oh God, he's looking around. You need somebody to do an inventory list for you. So this way you like where to turn.
I knew where to turn. This guy.
Okay. So Scott Hall.
Guy that never was world champion, that deserved to be a world champion, got in his own way. He's already beaten Hogan for the belt. He's beaten Kevin Nash against all odds. It's got to be Scott Hall. And then I think Scott Hall should be the guy to beat him.
You want Scott Hall to beat him?
Yep.
Jesus Christ. We haven't even got
one year anniversary of winning the belt. He can lose it at the Great American Bash or whatever the fuck.
Oh, you mean the 1 year anniversary of his undefeated streak? Or the 1 year anniversary of his title reign?
The title reign. When he won the belt in July of 98, lose it in July of 99.
Oh, shit. You want him to lose it at Bash at the Beach. So I guess
it should be the Great American Bash, damn it.
It is what it is, man. I can't change it. I can't change wrestling history.
Well, that's one more thing. What if it was different? Then they'd still be in business because the Great American Bash would be in July.
Understandable. I understand that. But again, let's go with the logistics of what you just said there. No, actually, it makes more sense that Bash at the Beach. I almost said Luger is demented and possessed. He's moving himself. And then I saw your hands moving. Don't do this to me. The weed is, weed makes you see some crazy shit. But anyway, what you just said there is more pantheon right there. Because July of 1996 was the birth of the NWO concept, TW. So July of 1999
Bash at the Beach.
Yeah. So July of 1999 would be I guess the resurgence or the renaissance, if you will, the comeback of the NWO legitimately, where Scott Hall would beat Goldberg for the title. So
everyone would think that Goldberg was going to run right over Scott Hall. That's the best part. No one would think he's losing it to Scott Hall.
Okay, so how would you get Scott Hall to come to that fruition? Because you have to have the nitros to build up for that week. You know what I mean? I'm just saying because again,
you have war games at Great American Bash.
Oh, so now you shift it to
and you have the NWO win, and then Goldberg, they cheat to win, whatever they got to do, they win. And then but Goldberg gets to decide which one of the members gets to go for the title, and he picks Scott Hall because he's the only one he hasn't beat yet. I already beat the rest of you guys. Give me Scott Hall, and then he loses.
Okay, that's a very intriguing way. The reason I'm asking you this now because the way you're booking it, it helps NWO so much more. To me, does it hurt Goldberg losing it? Because every smart mark is looking at it from this standpoint. The July of 96, July of 99, the renaissance of the NWO and all that stuff. Does that make Goldberg an afterthought, even with the undefeated streak going into July of 1999, going into Bash at the Beach 1999? What do you do? How do you protect Goldberg? And do you have Goldberg, get the title back?
You have Goldberg say, I overlooked him. I thought I was going to beat him the easiest, blah, 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 blah. And that reignites a fire. Then you put him, and of course, the NWO now tells him, you don't get a title shot. You wouldn't give us one. Now you're not getting one. You gotta earn it. And you have him go on another winning streak. And then you have him, and I think you even have him get screwed like Luger did at SummerSlam. You have him work his way back to it and then loses by count out, loses by not loses, but they lose by disqualification or count out Scott Hall. And that makes the chase go even longer. And then you get the fans like, oh man, Goldberg's got to get that belt back. Because I want to say, at some point, didn't the fans start booing Goldberg? Just like they booed Hogan. They turned Hogan heel. They loved him again. Then they started booing him again because they got sick of Hogan again. So you almost got to make Goldberg sympathetic. You made him dominant the first undisputed streak. Make him sympathetic in the second one. Like, have him earn his title match. And when he does, they disqualify or count out on purpose. And then finally you lead to a cage match, Scott Hall versus him. And he or I quit or whatever. Something. No, don't do that because then you'd have to do a submission move. But
no. So wait. Hold up. I understand Bill Goldberg has to overcome new odds, has to have a new undefeated streak, has to go through the hurdles of the NWO.
Has to earn a rematch. And then you want him to beat Scott Hall at what? Halloween Havoc 99?
Or
Starrcade.
Oh, so you stretch it
you make
all
him
the way.
6 months.
Okay. Well, no problem.
I'm just be where he gets screwed, and then Starrcade is when he wins in a cage match or whatever. A way where he can't lose by disqualification or count out and keep his belt, like Macho Man, like when Macho Man and Tito, and then Macho Man still won.
Oh, so you want him to fight Scott Hall twice?
Yeah,
once at Halloween Havoc, and then
they get disqualified or counted out on purpose, so he doesn't win the belt.
And then he has backup with WCW committees and J.J. Dillon and shit like that. And then he gets the rematch.
Is a stipulation match where he can't save his title. If he loses, he loses. Doesn't even have to be cage. If you lose in any way, shape, or form, you lose the title. And then you still have him pin him
or maybe to up the ante, since he didn't win it. I just think the best way to like salvage that, because I understand it, but I think it's kind of like, it's a little lazy to me. It's a little lazy booking. I think you would have to put his career on the line if he doesn't win the title,
get the Starrcade match. But
no.
But what I'm saying is
that rematch is he puts his career on the line. If he doesn't win the title, he's out of. He would be out of Starrcade.
No, the Starrcade would be either. Oh, and since he wins by count out, he doesn't lose his career.
No. He wins. He has to win by pinfall or submission. No other ways, or he loses his career at WCW. He's out of WCW. You got to put the WCW career on the line,
right?
To give a little bit of
Scott Hall can't save his title on a DQ or a count out.
Well, because like you said, with Halloween Havoc, Goldberg might have won the match on a count out. Goldberg might have won the match in disqualification. So you're protecting Scott Hall doing the heel, heavyweight title run. But then you got the championship committee saying, we must have a winner. And then the NWO puts a monkey wrench in that, saying, well, Goldberg has got to beat Scott Hall by pinfall or submission, but we want to twist it because we want something out of Goldberg too. And Goldberg is forced to put his career on the line. If he doesn't win by either or, then his career is over in WCW. I think you just up the ante.
The problem with that is, why wouldn't they purposely get disqualified again?
Well, because then
you got to make it both. You got to make it if he loses by disqualification or count out, he still loses his belt. But Goldberg has to pin him or submit.
You said that would be with Starrcade. You said that would be the cage match. So there's no way to change it.
I said instead of a cage match, just make it where he can't. I say cage so he can't get disqualified or counted out. But you can do it the other way. If you do it on purpose, if you get counted out,
I think I like the cage aspect. I think I like the cage aspect better because you put that, the Thunderdome type cage down. You protect yourself. Goldberg protects himself. There's no outside interference, hopefully, in all that bullshit. But then you have that one-on-one, and no matter what, there must be a winner. So there's no countouts and no disqualifications. It's a cage match. So the only thing in there
but
is
why are
that
they
Goldberg,
having that match if he already beat him for the belt in the first place?
It's like you said, he won by countout. He won by disqualification.
So this is the match that he wins the belt.
This is the match where he wins, but you got to put a stipulation. But you got to put a stipulation.
Didn't like me having him lose on countout and disqualification on purpose.
No, I just don't think it would. I don't mind Goldberg winning a match by disqualification or countout. I just don't want him to lose. I don't want it with a. I think the cage
even
match
better. Instead of him, in order for, matter of fact, you could do. I'd hate to say double DQ because that makes Goldberg look bad, but you have it go time limit draw, and then Scott Hall going, you don't get another shot, but in order to get one, you got to put your career on the line. Then you do it that way.
I don't know if Scott Hall can carry a match for 30 or 60 minutes.
Make it,
or even
that all's good, motherfucker. What you talking about?
I'm not. I'm just. I don't think.
30
again, both either or.
Then you do double count out. You do a double count out.
Okay, I'm just saying we gotta make it make sense to a degree. I think the cage match, Goldberg's career on the line, at least the count out and disqualifications is null and void. He's got to win by pin or submission. That you and me are agreement in that way. Yeah. That's scenario A. Scenario B is what you said earlier, because I think the best way, because now you and I have got to say when he loses it. So we have to put scenario B into fruition, and then we can close out, because I think there's only two ways. The first way works because of all the variables, but scenario B, I think, since everybody,
I just thought about the guy that can help him, the fifth member of the War Games team.
Who? 5? Oh, Booker T.
5 times. Booker T. You elevate him sooner.
No, you could do that. No, we're done with that first scenario. The second, we got to do the second scenario, and then we can close this out, because there's not that many scenarios, Reflectionites. I'm trying to be nice here, because again, with the fickleness, this is not a joke. This is actually true, because again, when we did What If, TW, again, we did the Magnum TAs and shit like that. We even did China, but we made it make sense, especially in the realms of the Monday Night Wars. You got to make it make sense, and again, with the monthly pay-per-views, we're trying to make it make sense to a degree. We made it make sense with Fruition A. For Fruition B, the only way to Goldberg go from 1998 to 1999, because I think it solves two things, TW. One, he holds the belt till Starrcade 1999. Forget about all the stuff. We can forget about the other shit we just said for a second, but follow me here. From 1998 to 1999, he has to hold on to the belt, where maybe now it's time for him to lose. So the question would be, who's the best person to lose? I'm not saying it has to be a guy from the NWO. It could be a good guy, like you're saying, like you got the 5-time, you got the DDPs, you got the Stings, you got the Bret Harts and all that stuff. Make it make sense. He holds it until 1999. The record goes on to 330. So now it's a bigger deal that he's like 330 and all that stuff. So now somebody's got to beat him. So this way it elevates somebody else. But then it gets, people not being pissed off at Goldberg, like, he's just going to win another match. So what say you, TW, about scenario B, the only other scenario B?
It's got to be someone that comes out of nowhere like he did. So he's the next big thing. So there's only one guy it could be. Ryback. It's got to be Ryback.
I was waiting with bated breath.
No, I would do Booker T there. I would do Booker T because the odds would be against him, because everyone would be saying he's a tag team wrestler. He's this, he's that. He's never done any. And then finally goes against Goldberg. He's bigger than Goldberg, or at least as big. He's starting to get that charisma. He's starting to become the guy that's going to go on to be King Booker. And I think he'd be the perfect guy, and it would be a respectful thing. They would shake hands and hug, and Goldberg, it would be Hogan Warrior, the way it would end, where Goldberg gives him the thumbs up and then takes some time off, because the pressure of the streak was getting to him, the pressure of the title reign, the pressure of defending the titles and defending against the odds of the NWO and all that. You have Booker T be the guy to take the baton, if you will, and then now you go with him. Because by the time they put it on Booker T, the ship was already sunk by that point. So to have Booker be the guy,
it would be a better good feeling.
Yes.
Because you feel legitimate.
Nobody would be mad that Goldberg lost. They would be happy for Booker, and then happy for Goldberg to get a rest. Like, kind of like the recent. People were happy for Roman. They saw the smile on his face when he got pinned, and there was relief. You know what I mean? And then you come back 3 months, 4 months later, refreshed, and all right, let's go. Let's get this rematch. Or maybe doesn't even want interest in the belt. He just said, you know what, Booker, I got your back. I'm good not being champion. And then build back up that way where the fans demand it. Goldberg has to fight for the title, and then he works his way back up. But you give new life to it. It's not NWO everything, because that's what killed WCW is too much NWO. It was great when it was 5 dudes, and then when there was everybody but 5 dudes were in the NWO, it's like, okay, this is dumb. You literally had no end game.
Let me ask you this question, because I'm not arguing about Booker T. I think that's a great choice. Why not DDP? Why not Bret Hart? Why not Sting?
Because if Bret Hart, if it's DDP, they don't need it. They don't need it. Booker would have needed it, and it would have made Booker significantly elevated if he's the guy. And especially when you do all the things I said, where he's a tag wrestler. He's never going to be able to go in there with this monster and not have his brother to tag out and all that kind of stuff. It would have been the perfect underdog to be that big of a dude. He would have been and it would have been an awesome Titan versus Titan, because they're both ginormous dudes, but you still have that underdog mentality. I think people would actually probably cheer, maybe even shed a little tear like they do for CM Punk returning or Cody winning the belts. Tears be shed for Booker, because he had been there, about 10 years, or at least 8, by that point. He got there in 92, 91.
We talk about 99. No, he was there since 93. He was there for 6 years.
Yeah, so 6, 7 years. Like, the dude paid his dues, and he inevitably won it, but way late in the game, But it would be Monday Nitro and Thunder's responsibility to remind the fans and the casual fans that sure.
Booker
That's
T,
what their job is.
The job is to sell the underdog mentality, to sell the David versus Goliath.
And not only that, but he's the little brother. He was relying on his big brother all those years, stuff like that. And it would have been a great
again, I'm not disputing that. I think that's great in hindsight.
DDP's 90 years old at this point, and Bret Hart.
But the reason I'm saying this right now, and I want to ask you this question, and we'll flip it, because again, there's really nothing left to talk about, so we're gonna try to put a bow on this. Ticket-wise, money-wise, Sting against Goldberg in 1999 would have been a big deal. Bret Hart, if you really revamped it, if you really did it the right way, like if Bret Hart, like I said, we booked it kind of like Bret Hart, DDP.
Well, if it was Bret, he would have had to forfeit the belt because he would have been killed by him. So it would have been a waste.
No, but at least then you have a year build of superstars. If it's Bret Hart or Sting being on Goldberg's side, but then wanting to taste that championship reign for themselves. But again, for tickets, I'm just saying for tickets, for money.
Right, but that would make them jealous. If tickets are going to be there, if you build Booker right, you know what I mean? Like make it a sympathetic story. But here's the thing: if it's Bret, it's even though he's not NWO, which by that time he probably was, I don't know. But even though he's not NWO, he's still a former WWE guy doing it. Booker T is straight up, even though he did global and I think world class, he is a homegrown WCW guy. So you'd be having WCW win, not another former WWE guy. And yes, that same could be set for DDP, but DDP was 80. He didn't need it. It was a feel-good moment.
But then he wouldn't go, well, for DDP purposes, TW, let's be fair here. In 1999, I don't think you remember this, but DDP went full-blown heel. He had the Jersey Triad. He was with Bam Bam, and he was with Chris Kanyon. And he had to revamp himself because people were tired of the People's Champion gimmick. Right. But then if you build it right, then you have the People's Champion against the World Champion, where people are cheering for DDP because he never he came so close
If you're
to the
saying
brass
he
ring.
doesn't go heel, yeah. But if he's heel,
I'm just saying.
no
Maybe
trust.
maybe during that from Starrcade 98 to Starrcade 99, DDP gets a shot at it during the middle. He comes close, he tastes it, and then he wants another match. He wins like one of those fatal 4-ways and shit like that,
Yeah.
gets another shot at it, and then maybe people will rally behind him. Same thing for Sting, same thing for Bret Hart. You can still build where one of them got it. Maybe even Booker T gets a crack at it earlier, like in a Halloween Havoc, maybe the Bash at the Beach, and he comes close. He came
But that's
close.
what I mean. Everyone would expect him to lose. That's why I want him to be the guy to win, because it would jolt the business. It would be like, whoa, that guy won? Like, whereas Bret Hart, 100 years, I love Bret. It's my favorite of all time. Sting, it would be old hat. You want WCW to continue on. You don't want him to continue on by doing the same thing they always do. Let's go back to Sting. Let's go back to Luger. Let's go back to Flair. Let's give it to Bret, who's been world champion 5 times. Or let's give it to this guy. It's just like AEW now, right? Jericho's the first champion. For all the people, the only people that defend Jericho being the first champion are the people that they're not going to heel on it. He's the first champion. They want it to succeed. But there are people who are mad that Jericho, Ambrose, and who was the other one? It's Punk. That those 3 guys were all AEW world champions, and Omega, Hangman, and now Swerve, Samoa Joe, Swerve and Samoa Joe were WWE guys, so they don't even count. But Paige and Omega are the only 2 homegrown guys to win the title, and they didn't hold it long. And one was a heel when he won it. One was a dud as champion, because he's a dud as a human being. But you want someone, especially it's the Monday Night Wars. You got people that are loyal to WCW. You want a WCW guy to be rewarded, not so. DDP would be fine the way you said it, never having gone heel, never done it to try it, just having him work his way up the fatal 4-way, because you'd be building momentum, especially if he's in a fatal 4-way with a Bret, a Sting, and a Hogan or a Hall or Nash. So they think, well, he's not winning for sure, and then he wins it. So it's making him the underdog, and it works too. But I'm just trying to say, building towards the future, do you want to put it on a guy who you know is going to lose it in the next 6 months to a year because he's old and brittle, or do you want to put it on the back of Booker T, who's young, hungry, and never thought he'd get the chance for the other obvious reason, race? He probably never thought he'd get the chance for that. And then you're making history. You're putting it on a young guy. You're making a tag team roster elevate the singles. Where have we heard that before? Bret, Shawn, they've done it. And so now you got Booker T doing it. I can't see anybody being upset if Booker T is the guy. I think they'd be pleasantly surprised.
Again, I'm not upset. I'm just going with devil. I'm going with but again, I'm going with devil's advocate. TW. I'm going with ticket sales. I'm going DDP. It has more legitimate reason to be the guy in 1999 instead of Booker T. I'm not refuting it. I understand it. I think it would be more.
They put it on DDP in '98, and it didn't move the needle. Obviously, that wouldn't have happened if we rewrite it. We're doing it.
No. Again, we're trying to save this company. Again, you're right. DDP is 80 years old if he won it, and then it wouldn't. Again, we wouldn't know where the company would have gone. Again, Booker T would be a nice kind of like redirection for the company. And again, you see maybe African Americans come into the fold, new African American wrestling fans coming into the fold. Oh, we got our guy, we got Booker T. We're gonna raise that flag. It's The Rock. You got Booker T. You got the culture coming together and all that stuff. So I go with you again. If you're kind of like seeing what WWE does, they had no problem giving The Rock the belt, Samoan plus African American, but then WCW African American. This is full 100%. African American winning this belt. No Samoan blood in him. But
we'll show you his birth certificate.
There you go. Shit, I ain't going with that.
He also did time, motherfucker. He's real.
There you go. See, again, you get all those people coming into the fold. I understand that. So again, let's put a bow in this TW. Again, you and I kind of agree that the NWO swerve should have happened earlier. So this way, the safe face for Goldberg to have a legitimate run. They had no direction for Goldberg when he got the belt. They only had direction for him with the undefeated streak. And again, that got tiresome. So TW, in your humble opinion, should he have lost the belt? I mean, the undefeated streak Was it a hindrance, a crutch, or is it basically his legacy that he's really only known for?
It's that. And it's that because they ruined it. They ended it too soon.
Wait, you said what is that? What is the answer?
He peaked at that streak. That's what he's known for.
Okay.
You know, I like that he got to add to his legacy coming back to WWE and beating Brock, basically squashing him, because for the same reason. Who the fuck saw that coming? Nobody. Mm-hmm. So it worked. And unfortunately, let me rephrase that. It worked to shock people. It didn't work because he lost the belt not long after that. But I like that they did it so you can at least build. I like his reason for coming back because he wanted his kid to see him wrestle. You know, we talked about it for the whole 7 years we've been doing this shit. I was not a big Bill Goldberg fan. I think he's somebody that did it for money and money alone because football didn't work out for him. But his second WWE run, is technically his third run. I like his reasoning for coming back. Some of the matches were terrible. The Undertaker match.
They were mostly terrible.
Well, no, not the squash on Brock. That was good. The second one where he won again was bad.
We're just being fair here. That's all.
He pulled a hamstring or something in that match where he ended up beating Brock again, and then he got squashed by Brock. Right, third time.
No, I mean the Survivor Series match he won like in 30 seconds, and then he lost to Brock at WrestleMania for the title because Bill Goldberg was coming in as the Universal Champion. So
I thought they wrestled 3. I thought he won the second one too. And
the first one he won in WrestleMania 20 where nobody cared.
No. I'm not counting that. I'm talking about the comeback.
Twice. The comeback was twice.
3. For some reason, I thought he got hurt in the second one, but still won, and then he got beat.
Where he got hurt was with Undertaker. That was where he got hurt. That was in Saudi Arabia.
No. That's after the Brock stuff. I'm talking about.
But the hamstrings, he only fought him twice.
Yeah, okay. I thought it was 3. But yeah, I think putting the belt on him too soon, especially on a Nitro, that's dumb. That's just dumb. You want people to watch it and pay for it. You have a bigger arena if you're doing a paper. Well, you ain't doing bigger than the Georgia Dome, but it's dumb to do it on Nitro because now you've also, this is probably another thing that doesn't help. You have now set the expectation that a title can change hands on Nitro, a world title. And now when you don't do it for long periods of time, people are mad. Like, what the fuck? You know, I got a pay-per-view to see the title change. I'm not doing it. So they didn't need to have him win on a Nitro. They should have made it a bigger deal.
Well, everybody said that it should have been on a pay-per-view, and then it would have meant more, and then you would have paid for it. So
then you bring him all the way to December as champion, and I don't know if the booze had started by then, but to have him lose, not even in the next calendar year, you lose it in the same calendar year that you won it. That just look because your thing's gonna say champion 2000. What was it? 99 or 98 champion 1998 to 1998. It looks weak. Even though it's 5 months, it's just weak. You want 98 to 99 or early 98, mid 98 to late 99. You don't want them. He should have had a 9 month to maybe a year. The title reign should have been at least as long as the fucking streak.
It should have been a year and change. Yeah. Yep. So it is what it is. So we saved maybe WCW if they went in the direction that we suggested. Again, the swerve should have happened months earlier, and then 2. You could have had the 98 Starrcade to 99 Starrcade where either Booker T or DDP would be the perfect guys to take the mantle away from Bill Goldberg. And with that being said, we close on this What If edition of the PWR podcast here at the Hameen Media Group at podbean.com. So it was a very interesting discussion. Again, because I leave, we get an hour into it. If TW was hosting this one, this would have been 7 minutes and change. And then it would have been apropos to be as long as a Goldberg match. Shit, that would have been even shorter. 5 minutes. Okay. I saved it. Thank you. Thank me, Reflectionites. But anyway, neither here nor there.
And shout out to your 2 favorite dudes that slide into your DMs that you call the Super Smash Brothers that you went ahead and had a shirt made in commemorative of them. Normally, people watching the video, he normally wears NBA shirts all the time. He's a show for him. But now He's got this big smile because these dudes did some damage to his insides. He's happy, so he got this shirt that says Super Smash Brothers. What's their real names?
No. I'm part of the super. I smashed the ladies. That's what it is. I edified the ladies. We smash them.
That's letting everyone know that you take two at a time.
We smash them. We smash them.
The O is a target.
We smash them and dash them. That's
your
the way
on your lower back.
I'm trying to end the goddamn show. All right. Jesus Christ. But anyway, what we're going to do next week, Reflectionites, I don't know. We might go.
We should do the roast of Big Ray Hernandez. What we should do.
Oh,
bringing all the big guns, too.
That'd be like ooh, you know what? That'd be great. That'd be episode 200 right there. Donnie, day one destruction. The Magnificent Seven people will roast Big Ray Hernandez. Maybe we might do that. I don't know. That might be episode 2. You actually gave me an idea for episode 200. That'd be the episodic episode of all episodic
Obviously,
episodes.
I'm referring to the Tom Brody roast. Tom Brady roast.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch?
I watched some of it. It was all right.
I only watched Peyton Manning and him, but I've seen clips.
Yeah, I've seen clips to it. It's okay. You know, I'm not saying it was too personal or anything. I'm just not, I'm a fan of the Don Rickles roast or the Dean Martin roast. Those were good back then. So,
they weren't so vulgar. They weren't so vulgar, man.
It's not about being vulgar. It's just about the times that you could roast somebody and then nobody really took it personal. So now anybody says anything in 2020 Quattro Reflectionites, it's too personal. I can
tell you, people on that roast gave zero fucks about anybody taking stuff.
No, they gave zero fucks, but the people on the Twitter were giving all the fucks to them, saying, "Wow, you took it personal," and all that shit. But anyway, neither here nor there. But again, I think maybe next week we might go more episodic. So I have to find the right episodic episode, TW. So with that being said, give out those socials so we can get out of here.
Alrighty, you can find us at the Pro Wrestling Coalition Network, who sponsors us at PWC Network at podbean.com.
Don't forget that word.
Probation.
There
But that's the link you put on mine, and then I shared it. Finally, but it was the Podbean. And then you have Hami Media Group at podbean.com as well as at channelattitude.com. Our show is on the X at PW Reflection. Big Ray is on all social media platforms at Big Ray Hernandez, and you can catch him every Wednesday live on the Next Level podcast. You can catch me on Instagram and on X at TommyWonder19, or my other X and TikTok at the Tommy Wonder, Snapchat #Wonder, Facebook.com/TommyWonder, and you can get to Big Vito and Noel at the Big Vito brand on TikTok, and you can watch the early release of the Reflection video at Big Ray Hernandez on X.
And you can follow me on my excerpt, aka Twitter, at PWSOPRF. That's PWSOProf. And if this gets uploaded by that slow ass motherfucker A-Track Brown, this will be on the PWSO YouTube networks. Follow my brothers in arms, A-Track Brown, the dirtiest of the city, and the king of the reactions at the number 8, TRAC Brown. And of course, Billy Ray Valentine, the host of the Wednesday Locker Room at OB1, you know me. And again, we might mostly be going episodic next week, but I have to find the right episodic episode for TW to watch. So I'm going to try to find a 5-hour pay-per-view so this way TW could look at it, maybe watch it in like bunches. He's not even liking it. See, I try not to do the 5-hour pay-per-views because there's plenty of those around, so I can find those. But again, I'll find the right episodic episode for TW so this way he doesn't fall asleep for you all, Reflectionites. That being said, I'm the professor. That's Mr. Wonderful, Dum doing its own, the Iron Stomach one, Dr. Frickenstein, and the undisputed, undeniable Detroit Heavyweight Champion of the world. Did you turn the ember around? Did you turn it around?
No, man.
That's what there you go. Michigan, Detroit, Michigan Heavyweight Champion of the world. Woo! Tommy Wonder saying good night, and we'll see you next time here at the PWR podcast at the Hami Media Group at podbean.com. Peace. Goldberg didn't do that.
Yeah, he did when he did the stupid smoke.
Well, he snorted. He didn't really snort.